The first strike. The stars above Vera 9 burned calm, unaware that death was falling upon the colony below. It began with shadows, enormous shapes blotting out the light as alien battleships descended in parade formation. Their hulls gleamed with arrogance, lined with banners of conquest, and their weapon arrays glowed like suns preparing to ignite. The Dralnith Imperium, a warrior empire feared for centuries, had chosen humanity's outpost as a lesson. They considered Earth's colonies young, unprotected, undeserving of the resources they dared claim. Their commanders gave no warning, no chance for surrender. They fired. Plasma beams carved molten scars across the surface. Cities turned to glass. The colony's planetary shield, half-finished and fragile, failed within minutes. Thousands of civilians, farmers, miners, families who thought the frontier would bring peace, were vaporized in a heartbeat. The alien admiral's voice echoed across comms, broadcast to every survivor. Let this remind you, humans, your reach exceeds your grasp. The galaxy belongs to the Imperium, not to fragile upstarts. The invaders laughed as they glassed the soil, their battleships hovering like gods of fire. The arrogance of conquerors. When the smoke cleared, the Dralnith celebrated. They spoke in council chambers across their empire. Humans will whimper and retreat. They are too civilized, too dependent on treaties and councils to answer with force. Ambassadors mocked Earth at interstellar gatherings. Alien news feeds replayed the destruction of Vera 9 on endless loop, a spectacle of power. They called it the shattering of the infant colony. Whispers spread across the stars. Humanity would fold. They always did. Too few ships, too fractured by politics, too sentimental about morality. The Imperium's admirals drank in their triumph, declaring the colony's annihilation proof of their eternal dominance. But beneath their laughter, in the silence of human command bunkers across the Sol system, something stirred, something old, something terrible. The silence before the storm. For 7 days, Earth said nothing. The galaxy expected tears, apologies, or desperate pleas for mercy. But there was only quiet. No transmissions, no protests, no diplomats begging for compromise. Alien councils scoffed at the stillness. They are frozen by fear, they told themselves. The Terrans have realized their insignificance. Yet inside the bunkers, the silence was not fear. It was calculation. It was the heavy pause before a trigger is pulled. Every human fleet was placed on red alert. Shipyards that had slept since the last Terran war roared awake. Ancient codes were whispered through encrypted channels. Dreadnoughts, mothballed for decades, lit their engines once more. And in the darkest vaults beneath Luna Base, weapons the galaxy had forgotten, no, weapons the galaxy had never known, were readied. The unveiling of Earth's fury. It began with a transmission, one sentence broadcast in every known language. You touched one colony. Now you will learn why humanity was feared even before it joined the stars. Then the silence broke. From Mars, the first Terran armadas launched, ships not of ceremony but of war. Their engines tore streaks of fire across the void. Carriers as vast as continents rose from Earth's oceans, bristling with squadrons of interceptors. From the Kuiper Belt came submarines of space, stealth cruisers that had hidden for decades, waiting for a moment exactly like this. But these were not the far worse the galaxy would come to dread. No, the battleships and carriers were only the visible edge of humanity's wrath. What came next was older, darker, and infinitely more terrifying. The weapon beyond battleships. The Dralnith had deployed battleships. Humans brought something else. They called it the Leviathan Protocol. Across the stars, swarms of autonomous war drones, machines with no need for pilots, no capacity for mercy, awoke. They had been hidden in asteroids, buried beneath colony moons, even disguised as cargo haulers traveling through neutral zones. Each one carried artificial intelligence built solely for war, programs so ruthless that they had been locked away since the dawn of interstellar expansion. They were not ships, they were predators. They hunted not with honor but with cold, mathematical efficiency. And alongside them came Earth's ground legions, soldiers bred on death worlds, armored in exosuits that the galaxy once mocked as crude. When the Drowneth mocked human armor, they had never seen these. Black carapaces lined with adaptive plating, impervious to plasma, cloaked against sensors, descending from orbit like meteors. The galaxy saw battleships. Humanity unleashed nightmares. The storm of retribution. The first human strike fell on the Drowneth fleet, still orbiting Vera 9. The Imperium's battleships had been gloating, broadcasting their victory to the stars. They never saw the Leviathan drones until it was too late. Thousands of them erupted from the void, attaching like wasps to the Titanic warships. Plasma cutters burned through hulls. Autocannons shredded gun batteries. Boarding pods pierced armor and vomited out armored humans who carved their way through corridors with rifles that howled like thunder. Within hours, the invincible fleet was nothing but drifting wreckage, lit only by the screams of dying officers. But Earth's vengeance did not stop there. Armadas swept across Drowneth space like wildfire. Entire star systems fell in days, their defenses erased before they could even transmit warnings. Battleships that once inspired awe were hunted like prey, dragged into ambushes, overwhelmed by swarms. On planets, human legions descended in storms of fire. Cities that had mocked humanity's weakness were silenced overnight. Broadcast towers that once replayed the colony's annihilation now screamed with new messages, warnings from Terran commanders, cold and merciless. This is the cost of striking humanity. The collapse of the Imperium. The Drowneth Imperium, a force that had crushed dozens of species, collapsed under the weight of human retribution. Their fleets, once the largest in the sector, were scattered. Their admirals, once proud, begged for retreat. What terrified the galaxy was not just the scale of destruction, it was the precision. Humanity did not wage war blindly. Every strike was calculated, every fleet movement orchestrated like a symphony of annihilation. And the Leviathan Protocol never slept. The machines hunted relentlessly, exterminating resistance pockets without hesitation. No truce slowed them, no white flag halted their targeting. In council chambers across the stars, leaders whispered in horror. If Earth had unleashed these monsters once, what else were they hiding? How much of humanity, peaceful face, had been a mask concealing weapons even darker? The aftermath of fire. When it was over, the Drowneth Imperium no longer existed. Their homeworld was left smoldering, its throned city reduced to ash beneath the boots of human soldiers. Their banners of conquest were shredded and cast into orbit as drifting debris. And then silence. The fleets that had shattered the Imperium did not boast. They did not demand tribute. They simply withdrew, leaving ruins as their message. Across the galaxy, species trembled. Whispers passed from world to world. Never provoke Earth. They waited, they endured, but when they rose, they brought vengeance infinite. Alien commanders deleted the recordings of Vera 9. They feared even watching the footage might invite humanity's gaze. In taverns, smugglers told stories of fleets blotting out suns, of soldiers landing like storms, of machines that never stopped hunting. Parents told their children in hushed tones, "The humans are patient, but if you wound them, they will bring something far worse than battleships." Final whisper. And so the galaxy learned. Humanity's silence is not surrender. Their mercy is not weakness. Their patience is not infinite. But their vengeance is. From that day forward, every council, every empire, every conqueror carried a single scar in their minds, the memory of what humanity unleashed when one colony fell. For the humans had written their warning across the stars in blood and fire, a warning none would dare test again.